Hey, what's up? Jason here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking it out. So another quick one today about how you can prompt users if they have form inputs that they haven't saved. So taking a look at this, I've got a quick survey that I want to ask users, just 4 questions. When they click on a button or an image or something like that, it's going to pop up this little pop-up window and it's going to direct the user through 4 questions that I want to ask them. Now, if they hit the little close button here, it's just going to close the window because they haven't done anything. But if they've entered some information and they cycle through the questions and then they decide, well, I want to close this, I want to prompt them with this to say, hey, you haven't submitted this yet. Are you sure you want to close the window? And then give them the actions. And then if they hit yes, it's going to close that pop-up and it's going to reset the state. So that thing I typed in here is gone. So let's take a look at what needs to be built to do this. So obviously you need the pop-up built with whatever you want on there, whatever form elements that you want. And you also want a workflow. Now there is a workflow event called when a pop-up is closed. So you can use that basically to centralize your workflow. So if the user hits escape to close it, if they click away, if you're not using a full screen pop-up, or if they click your close button, then it's going to invoke this exact same workflow. So you don't have to repeat yourself. So you don't have to repeat yourself. So you don't have to repeat yourself. And we're going to need a custom event. I'm going to use the custom event again so I don't have to repeat myself, and so I don't have to repeat myself, and so I don't have to repeat myself. And that's just going to clear the pop-up and reset the variables for that. I'm also going to have to create a state on the object so I will know whether or not the user has changed any fields. That's really the most irritating part about this, especially if you have a big form. Now, because this channel is targeted at no coders, if you are good with JavaScript, yes, you can do this much more easily than having to do this on individual form fields. So Google that and check that out. But for this, I'm just going to show a simple way that you can do this. Okay, let's take a look at how this is built. So this is my pop-up. And I've got a couple of custom states on my pop-up. So one is trying to close, yes or no, the other being unsaved, and it's the combination of these that will determine whether or not that message is displayed. The reason I set it up this way is because I'm evaluating the input boxes in real time, and if they make a change to an input, then I'm setting unsaved to yes. Now, if I was only making this error group show when unsaved is yes, it's going to show up right away, and I don't want that. I only want it to show up when they're trying to close it. So it's the combination of these things that is going to show this group here, which is the message, and this is the clause. So basically, if unsaved is yes and trying to close is yes, then show this element. So let's take a look at first I'll take a look at one of the forms here. All the inputs are set to the same. So this is my input question number 1. And if I click on Start Edit Workflow, this is the workflow action for it. And it's just setting the state of unsaved to yes. So here's the other workflows that you're going to need to create. Number 1, I've got the custom event here, reset pop-up. And this is so I don't have to repeat myself. And I'm not going to repeat myself again. Sorry about that. So what I want to do first is I want to hide the pop-up, and then I want to do all of the other actions. Now this is just so the user doesn't see any states and stuff changing on the page. So the pop-up's going to go away first. Sometimes you can see a little flash, so if you really wanted to, you could do an animation step between these two or put a pause action in there if you want it to be extremely clean. And I'm going to set the states of these back to the original state, which is no for both. I'm going to reset that pop-up entirely, so if they've made any other changes, it's going to go back to its normal state. I'm going to reset the relevant inputs, which should reset all of the input boxes on for all 4 of those questions. Then what I need to do is I want to make sure that it goes back to showing them the first question. Now, this is something I've noticed with pop-ups. Even setting the reset pop-up, it does not put it back to the original state for some reason, and I haven't been able to figure it out, so I'm just doing this workaround where I'm hiding question 2, 3, and 4, and then showing question 1. So if they were to close the pop-up and they were on step 4, and then they reopened it again, it's going to go back to showing them the first question again, because it is prompting them. So that is the reset pop-up, and then this is the workflow that controls when the pop-up is closed. So when this pop-up is closed and unsaved is yes, then I want to trigger this custom event, and that's how I can keep it all nice and clean, because I've got the other prompt here where, if you remember on this page, if I open up the unsaved notice, they're going to hit yes. So if they have unsaved information and they click yes, I want to do that exact same workflow again, and I don't want to go through adding or copying and pasting all those steps. So the close window, if they hit yes, is just going to trigger that same custom event, so reset pop-up. And now the close icon, it's set this way because it does need to do a little bit of an extra step here. First it needs to set the trying to close the window to yes, and then I need to show the unsaved notice to the user and then terminate that workflow if it's unsaved, because I don't want it to actually do anything else. But if they're trying to close the window and there is no unsaved information, it's going to obviously skip step 3 and it's just going to trigger that same reset. And that is how you can create a form that prompts the user if they have unsaved information. Remember to hit like and subscribe, drop a comment if you have questions about this tutorial. Thanks for checking it out.